What is going on, guys? This is Justin with Go Crazy Card Collecting. I just had a few things that I wanted to share with you. I don't know if you guys do, but I do this so much. And I know that there are so many different ways to collect and so many reasons why we collect, but I'm super emotional with my collecting. Like most things that I get have some sort of attachment or drive or emotion that just gets me going. And so I know a lot of people do the Hall of Famers, and I have plenty of those. I mean, I think there's a Hall of Famer. That's a future Hall of Famer right there. I mean, they're Cardinals as well, Mickey Mantle. I have lots of Hall of Famer stuff. Like, that's awesome. I love Hall of Famers. Everybody loves Hall of Famers, but I get so emotional with even small things, just kind of how I get them and what drives them into my PC and how those things happen. And so I'm going to show you a few items today that have more an emotional attachment to me, that aren't big dollar items. I've got a couple things that I got just because I'm a Cardinals fan, and just a few other pickups too, but not a whole lot of things to show. But I want to hear from you guys. Like, are you emotional with your collecting? Like, I mean, almost everything that I get, I feel like has to have, and maybe it really stems from the fact that my collection began with what my mom gave me from when she was a child and she collected. So anyway, I have a few things here. I'm probably going to squeeze off screen just for a second to grab them. So let me show you some things. The first thing is just a couple pickups that I have from collecting my Cardinals stuff. I have just a few newer pickups. This is a 67 Mike Shannon. It's actually a pretty difficult card to get. If you have ever tried to get this card for any reason, it's not a super easy card to get. He's a beloved St. Louis Cardinals guy. He, stayed his entire career there. It was his hometown. He was at Mizzou for a while, and so it was a big deal, and then he stayed there forever, for his whole life. And this was 67. It's a high number, and they won the World Series that year. I just think that there aren't a lot of these, when Cardinals fans get these, and collectors who really like the Cardinals stuff get this card. It doesn't go on the market a whole lot, and with it being a high number, it's already scarce to begin with. So I'm excited to have this, excited to add it to my collection. Love this card, 67 Mike Shannon. This next one is similar to Mike Shannon. It's a 62 Tim McCarver rookie card. Center 3. I love the centering. I love this card. Who doesn't love catcher's cards, right? I love this card. And when they're in their catcher poses, I wish more of Yogi Berra's cards were him catching and not batting. I love the old catcher's mitts in the card. I did not play catcher, but I think they're fantastic. And so I really like this card in that 62 set. And being a St. Louis guy, like I said before, gotta love Tim McCarver. He was there forever. Has a pretty good name in broadcasting, and so did a bunch of World Series. Love me some Tim McCarver. So anyway, those were a couple of guys that were very similar in their careers. I think I know McCarver had a better baseball career in terms of playing, and he followed Steve Carlton around, was his catcher, but he just an awesome card. I love this card. I love it. And not an expensive card, super cheap card. And this next one, shout out to Joe at Redneck Collector. He had one of these. He has a raw one he just picked up and showed on his channel a few videos ago. Marty Marion, who was a fantastic shortstop for the Cardinals in the 40s. Got MVP in 44. Called him Mr. Shortstop. He was a great fielder. So I'm excited to have that. I love this example. Looks really, really nice. Excited to have that and add that to my collection. The next thing I have is kind of one of those emotional things. A few videos back, which was like 7 months ago, because I took like a 6-month break. I'm not going to do that anymore. But a few months back, I did a video about meeting and having lunch with a Cardinals pitcher who's kind of a legend in Cardinal Nation, and a lot of people who were around during that time remember him. It was during the 67 season. His name is Dick Hughes. It is Dick Hughes. He's still alive. I go to church with his daughter, and so I have this kind of connection, which is really, really cool. And I got to have lunch with him. Really awesome, genuine guy. Played for the Razorbacks too, and I live in Arkansas. Just a super genuine guy. And he signed a bunch of things for me, but his career was only in 67. I mean, he pitched a few games, I think at the end of 66 maybe. I know he pitched some in 68. He said in spring training he had felt something pop in his arm, and it was warm and wet, and he still pitched 60-something innings, because guys back then were made of, I don't know, a lot more than what guys now are made of, but he still pitched 60-something innings. But in 67, he was in that rotation with Gibby and Steve Carlton and Nelson Briles, and they went to the World Series. He got to pitch 2 games in the World Series, didn't pitch real well. And so every once in a while, I know that I have his address, which was awesome, and he just lets me, like, he's okay with me sending him things to sign for me, and I get to see his reaction. And I found something that I was hoping would spark like a really cool like reaction from him, maybe a memory that he had or something that kind of sparked something in him, just to give him a smile. I think that's so cool to think about when you give stuff to a ball player and from their playing days, and they can just kind of think back at those times. And so I found, I searched for a 1967 Cardinals game ticket, and there was one that I saw on eBay. And so I looked at it. Here's the ticket. September 19th, 1967. It's a Philadelphia ticket, but it is the Cardinals in Philly, playing against the Phillies. And so I looked up that day just to kind of see what happened, and Lou Brock had 2 stolen bases on this day. The Cardinals won this game, and Dick Hughes was the winning pitcher, and he pitched against Hall of Famer Jim Bunning, beat him 1-0, gave up 4 hits, struck out 7, went a complete game, 9 innings, and I was excited to find this. It was $20 on eBay, and I grabbed it. And so I sent that guy a message and told him I was excited that I was going to send it to Dick Hughes, the winning pitcher of this game, and have him sign that sucker. So Dick Hughes, Cardinals winning pitcher, 1-0. And what's cool is he was so excited to see this. He had not signed a game ticket of his. And he was so excited, or at least not for this game. And it is arguably his best game. Maybe there was another one that was a little bit better, but he only gave up 4 hits to the Phillies and beat a Hall of Famer 1-0. And anyway, that's really awesome. It's I have kind of an emotional attachment because I got to meet him and have lunch with him, and he's a big part of my collection. And I have a baseball signed by him and all of his cards signed, a picture signed from him, and he signed some pictures for my kids and my mom because she got me, going on this with her collection. And so anyway, he's such a genuine, awesome dude, and he did this for me. He said, which is kind of cool, he still has the glove that he wore during this game, like he remembers it. And it was like he had his own deal to make signature gloves for him. He was runner-up to Rookie of the Year, and so he was pretty big that year, and he was making his own deal, but he was wearing a Jim Bunning glove when he beat Jim Bunning, which is pretty cool. So anyway, this is a neat piece. Like I said, I collect emotionally. It's not a super valuable in terms of price, but it is invaluable to me, and it will never leave my PC. I love this piece. I'm just trying to figure out, I like that he signed on the back because you can see it a whole lot better, but I'm trying to figure out how I want to display it or show it or fake slab it, whatever I want to do. I haven't figured out. If you guys have suggestions about how you've done tickets like this where you can see both sides, let me know. I love it, and I want others to see it, and it's just a cool piece for me. So the last thing I want to show you guys, they're not is not baseball related. It's not sports related at all. But like I said, I collect emotionally. And so my great-grandfather, he passed away when I was 10 in St. Louis, Missouri. And he was a congressman and an ambassador to Paraguay and Costa Rica. So there's stuff out there that's from him, pictures of him. We've got, my uncle has some really cool pictures of him. And I have a really neat picture of him that is signed that I actually bought off of eBay. This is my my great-grandpa. His name's Walter Plazer. This is an autographed picture of him while he was ambassador at Costa Rica. A guy who was collecting ambassador signatures had written a letter to him, and he kindly sent this back to that man. And when that man passed away, they sold his collection on eBay, and I was able to I found my great-grandpa's picture and signature right there. I've got lots of things from him, but I thought this was pretty cool that I found that on eBay during my collecting. So there's that, and it also came with a letter from him back to this man with an embassy seal on it, which is pretty neat. And it says, oh, I'm showing it to you upside down. How about them apples? It says, San Jose, Costa Rica, March 28th, 1972. And it went to David in Beverly Hills. Dear Dr. Marcus, I received your letter of March 24th and want to thank you for the kind words you said about me. I'm delighted to be able to comply with your request, and I'm enclosing my autographed photograph. Sincerely, Walter C. Plazer, Ambassador. So, I thought that was really cool. It's an emotional item that I will find some way to display. And then, as I continued to search, when he was congressman, it was 1941 through 1949. And so he had 8 years, 4 terms. And it was during World War II. He was at the hearings where they decided to drop the bombs on Hiroshima and Nagasaki. And just some really neat things. And I found a press photo of my grandma when she was 10 years old. It is a type 1 photo of my grandmother. It says, Ann Plazer, 10 years, daughter of Walter Plazer, Republican representative from St. Louis, Missouri, who was present on the floor of House of Representatives at the voting on declaration of war with Japan. So when they were outside, it's got a little crease right there, and I hate that. But when they were outside at the congressional hearing, the kids were there. And it says Defense Department. It's got their stamp and all that stuff. Really, really neat. And Acme News pictures. But anyway, it's got, they were outside in the lobby, and they lined all the kids up and took their pictures and never used them for anything. So they were in there. I found this, the Defense Department was selling a bunch of them off, and I found my grandmother's picture. So I thought that that was really, really cool. I don't know if I'll be able to find anything like that again of my grandma, but it is a beautiful photo, aside from that little crease, but it's not really little, it's pretty big. Anyway, most of my collecting is involved with some sort of emotion, and I'm a very emotional guy. I know men are supposed to be big, tough, whatever, but I'm an emotional guy, and I collect very emotionally. And so if I have some emotional attachment, I don't care on the dollar value at all. I think it's the coolest item, and I will put it in my collection. You guys tell me what you think. Please like my video, subscribe to my channel. I'm hoping to keep going with these videos, and I love it, and I love this community. I love the people I'm meeting. I didn't used to say meeting till I moved to Arkansas, but here we are. So thanks a lot, guys. Go crazy card collecting, and have a good one.